Hi, I'm your host, Erica Polsinelli, and welcome to Evolve by Erica, the podcast, where we talk all things spirituality, ascension, health, wellness, and beyond. I'm so excited that you are here. Come on in. Today on the podcast, I'm excited to introduce you to Robyn Youkilis, who I have followed for a very long time. She's like an OG health coach, and she's an author, she's a mother. She now is a business coach, and she's a double Libra. That's probably why I like her so much. But like when you're with her, you just feel like so safe and cozy. And we talk about everything. We talk about social media. We talk about marketing. We talk about business. We talk about an anti-aging or embracing aging regimen, I should say. And it's just a great conversation. So I hope you guys enjoy the episode, and I'll see you on the other side. I'm so happy you're here. Welcome.
So happy to be here. Thank you.
I'm so excited. As soon as Robyn came in today, I'm like, I have to tell you what I've been thinking, because anything I think just comes out of my mouth. I'm like, you're reverse aging. Like, you're getting younger and younger.
Take that.
And I want to hear about your rituals that might be contributing to it, because I want to know all of it.
Thank you. First of all, I adore you. What a way to start, right? Like, wow. So I'm 43 years old, and I say that
you're so radiant.
I say that proudly. Thank you. Honestly, yes, we can talk about skincare. We can talk about all the wellness things, the way that I truly do put myself first, even with a husband and 2 kids and a full-time business and all the things that I do. But also, I think the biggest factor is joy.
Yeah.
I make sure that I have things on the calendar that I truly am excited about, that truly light me up, that I can't wait till they're there and I just can have the best time. Sometimes that's like raging at a music festival or a night out with a DJ, or it's just going for a walk on the water in Brooklyn, but truly things that bring me actual real joy.
I love that.
And I believe having those anchors, I call them joy anchors on the calendar, keep me looking like this.
That's beautiful and so important, because you have your own business, you're a mom of 2, a wife, and life gets really freaking busy.
It's a lot. I was talking to somebody at an event this morning, and I was like, at the end of the day, I feel like I really only have 3 usable hours in a day. Mm-hmm. So what can
for yourself?
For my work.
Okay.
Because by the time I'm done with the morning shuffle and drop off, and if I get some movement in and I feed myself and I take care of all the things, and then I haven't been interrupted in some way, it's only a few hours that I really can focus. And so the benefit of that is it keeps me really focused.
Yeah.
And I don't have time for things that are like, meh, whatever, or that's not a priority right now. That doesn't have to get done this moment. It can be next week. It can be next month. It can be next season. I feel like we feel very overwhelmed with this needs to happen now. And I think a slow roll on a lot of things keeps us calmer and more in balance with how we want to achieve all of our goals and all the ways that we can do that.
I love that. So I followed you for a while. Like, I've known you for a very long time through social media, and you're an author. You help coach people. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you started in this world.
Okay. So I have been a wellness entrepreneur, author, business coach, wellness expert for going on 15 years now, which blows my mind. I know. So I was always obsessed with food, cooking shows, Ina Garden, all of that. And I was working in nonprofits. I was also working in theater. So I definitely was a bit of a theater kid. I did circus, rock climbing, all the crazy things that I loved to do as a kid that I didn't think I could do any version of that as an adult. Meanwhile, of course, I still do all these fun things that I try to, have happen. But I was really into food, and I was working at nonprofits, and I was living in LA at the time. And I started going to the farmers markets and really getting into cooking, just moving away from, bags of frozen corn at Trader Joe's, which, by the way, is delicious if you add a little tagine and like Parmesan and lemon juice. That's how I was making it in the saute pan. But getting more into fresh food and understanding where it came from, how it affected me, my mindset, my mood, and my body. And at the time, I was also in a new relationship with my now husband. And I was making him these egg sandwiches on sourdough with the arugula and the local California avocados. And I was at this job that I was kind of miserable at. And I was telling my friend about the sandwich, and she said, you should check out this school I know about. It's called the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, IIN, if you're familiar. It's one of the largest health coaching certification programs in the world. I looked it up. I ordered the brochure. So this is how long ago this was. I held the brochure in my hands, and everything in my body was a yes. I could like feel it. I could feel it. And I remember that moment so clearly. And we all have those moments, right? That are just pivotal moments in our lives that are so burned into our memory and our bodies. And within a week, I figured out the tuition. The school at the time was in person. Now it's all virtual. But I was like, to my new boyfriend, I'm like, we're going to move back to New York so I can go to the school program.
Why?
Literally, yeah, that was the impetus for us going, because I'm from New York, but I'd been living in LA for 5 years. He and I've been dating for, I don't know, a year, months, I don't even remember. But at some point I wanted to move back to New York, but I was like, let this be the thing that calls us back there. And so signed up for this program, didn't know how I was going to do it. Totally was in credit card debt, had no direction, no clarity on what I wanted to do with my life. I didn't even want to be a coach. And I love sharing that because it's okay to do something that you're not totally clear on or have no idea where you're going with it. But if you feel like it's a yes, you will be led there, like step by step by step. And so I graduated. Again, I wanted to be maybe on camera or have a show with cooking, something like that, but I didn't know how to do any of that. But they taught me how to be a health coach and have a health coaching practice. So I was like, they seem to know what they're doing, so I'm going to follow their lead until I'm clearer on my path. And so that's what I did. I literally opened my coaching practice, Your Healthiest You, and did everything by the books. All the programs I launched, the ways I work with clients, that I got clients, was everything that I was trained to do. And eventually, many, many years later, I ended up at a conference, and I had submitted a piece of marketing, which was a video of me doing the Michael Bublé, what is it? The Blurred Lines. I did a healthy spoof on it. And I had submitted it to this conference for best marketing material, and I won. And so I was in the room with all these giants in the wellness world and an agent, and my book agent was there, Celeste Fine, and she saw the video and she's like, let's talk. And so that's how I got my first book deal, and it did well, which led to my second. And now I am here in my business so many years later, which has evolved beyond health coaching, more into business coaching and speaking and media. And I'm working on my third, fourth, fifth book. So that's kind of as quickly as I could bring you through my career.
Wow. Oh my goodness. So was it mostly social media marketing when you first started, or was it?
There was no email? Instagram when I first started.
Okay, I was wondering.
It was. Okay. I know. I'm glad you asked, because we can't even picture a world
without that. Like, so how'd you sell a program without social media?
To give you even more context, when my first book, Go With Your Gut, was released, there were no stories. It was just static posts.
Oh my gosh.
In a feed.
There was a world without stories. It's like so wild.
I know. And I remember it well. So I had a blog and a newsletter, and I would send a weekly newsletter, and I would do events. So tons of events. So anybody that would let me set up I didn't even need a whole table, just the corner of a table at the farmer's market, at wellness pop-ups, anywhere I could teach, speak, share my expertise, connect, and have people sign up for my newsletter or sign up to have a consultation with me. And that's how I got most of my clients, and then word of mouth. And I was really had a lot of chutzpah with it. I'm a Jewish girl from Long Island. We share that. but I had a lot of chutzpah in the sense of tenacity to ask people for what I needed support in and how could I support them. This is what I do. I help people with their gut, heal their gut, live a more mindful life. Would you share my information? And clients that I work with, asking for their testimonials, asking them to share with their colleagues and friends about me. And that's how I built my practice.
It's amazing. Right now I'm thinking about all the people on social media who are like, oh, I don't have a big enough following to do this, or my following isn't growing in the rate that I want. Or there was literally life without social media, where people were able to grow very successful businesses and communities and followings, even before it was an actual quote unquote following, like on social media. But I also want to go back to what you said about not needing to know exactly what you're doing, but following those full body yeses, because that was the same for me with my Kundalini training. When I signed up for Kundalini training, it was really to find out what on earth I was going to do. And I remember turning to my husband being like, I am not going to be a yogi. I'm not going to be a meditation teacher. Don't freak out right now. He freaked out a few weeks later when I told him it was official.
Takes a minute.
But but I really believe that. I'm like, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm just finding my way. And then in following those yes moments, you start, the path gets shown to you.
Totally.
And we share that as well. That's really, really powerful.
And I also want to validate if you're having like a medium yes.
Yeah.
I've signed up for a lot of things and done different trainings or certification programs where I mostly wanted to do it. I didn't love all the parts of it, but I knew it was meant to be a part of my story, my journey, right? Sometimes that deeper physical, emotional, embodied work can be challenging and not something like if somebody's thinking about a yoga training, maybe you're not such a huge fan of yoga or you don't want to be a yoga teacher, but there's something calling you that makes it a big enough yes. That it's probably meant to be a part of your story. And when you listen to that and you show up for it, I always say bravery is always rewarded. And so when you're brave in one moment and you listen to something, you never know what that rolls into. But I had no plans to be a health coach. I had no plans to be a business coach, which is eventually what I've evolved into, and write books. Like I'm so grateful for my books. I never set out to be an author.
Really?
Never.
Wow.
It was not the pie in the sky dream for me.
When did you get the ping? Like, okay, I'm going to become an author and I need to write a book.
When I met my literary agent. So it can come in different ways. She's like, this is a book, because we got on the phone and I was so lucky.
Guys, that's so cool. Oh my gosh.
It is cool because it just also really validates, yes, she was an agent, but she was a mentor to me. So that also really validates when you make a connection with someone that sees something in you and wants to support a side of you.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
Brainstorm with them. A lot of people say like, oh, I'll reach out to someone, I'll pick their brain. No. It's like, let's brainstorm, let's chat, and let's see what's there. Let's see where the dots are connecting, what's interesting, what has some heat to it. And so when I started telling her the big themes that I was working with my clients, that a lot of it was gut health, but once we started healing their gut, it opened up all these feelings and all these intuitive moments, and they started living their life from that place. And so that was the premise of my book, Heal Your Gut So You Can Live From Your Gut, and what that meant and means. And there wasn't anything like that at the time. And so she said, and she was honest with me, you're early in your career.
Wow.
But let's go for it.
Wow.
And early meant amount of followers on social media, newsletter size, unique visitors to my website talking about the same stats. But at the end of the day, marketing is marketing.
Yeah.
And it's really helpful for people to know what business they're in. I always think, yes, I'm in the business of helping people, but mostly I spend my time marketing. And what that means is sharing my message, right? Being at those tables at the farmer's market. Yeah, it was great to connect to people and talk to them about food and where it came from and how they could, make really simple, healthier, nourishing dishes. But I was marketing my tushy off. And so I think a lot of people feel defeated in entrepreneurship or struggle in the coaching business because we forget what business we're in first.
Yeah.
And I say that to empower.
Yeah.
To empower you if you're listening to this conversation. Like, oh, okay, so that's where I'm going to spend a good amount of my time. But then when I have those really juicy moments, I can really enjoy being with a client or speaking and really celebrate that. That's why it's so important to celebrate as much too. When we have those moments like this, like being on this couch with you, this is a celebration moment for me. This is what a lot of the hard work is for. So I can get to share my expertise and get to connect with you, connect with your audience. And so validating that, celebrating that, and then almost dramatizing a bit the other stuff we have to do that we create a lot. Well, I have to post on social media every day. It's like, well, yeah, but you get to. And if you can remove some of the drama, almost like neutralize it a little bit. This is part of my business. This is what I get to show up and do each day, because then it leads to so many more of those big, brilliant moments.
Yeah. I love how just following your intuition, saying yes to what you knew you needed to say yes to, got you to a space that maybe you weren't even dreaming of manifesting, like you said. And I think sometimes we get in our analytical mind of like, where am I going? What is this going to bring me? Why should I sign up? I don't even want to be a health coach. Why would I sign up as a health coach? But like, you had that full body yes. And when we can remove those other thoughts and just follow what our gut is literally telling us and guiding us, we can get to a very unexpected but pleasant space. I remember when I was like early days of following you, there was a lot of kraut going on.
Yes.
There was cacao, a lot about the gut. So can you share some of the things that are like your go-to for gut health? Because I believe so strongly in the connection to food, to our spirit, to our energy, to our soul. My whole journey started by changing my diet. So exactly what you're explaining, I experienced that energy from the gut straight to the third eye. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a whole other world I could be living in right now. So if someone is dealing with gut issues, what are some pointers you would give them to start to like clean it up and just come back more into alignment?
Yeah. So it changed so much of your brain because our gut health does change our brain. And we've learned so much more about how they're connected. And it's really incredible. And I'm glad you asked me about where someone would start because that's my specialty. A lot of people get really overwhelmed saying, well, I can't do something because I don't know enough. I teach very simple practices and simple ways to start. So I'm glad this works for most people across the board when you start with water, breathing, taking your time, chewing. So
wait, water, breathing, chewing, taking your time. Like, so really simple, but so like we're not doing that.
We're not doing that.
A lot of us are not doing those things.
I've found that 70% of people with more severe gut health or digestive issues can be healed or experience, a lot of relief by upping those simple practices. Yeah. So first thing, water first thing in the morning, 32 ounces if you can do it.
I'm doing that with lemon.
Giant glass.
Doing it.
I don't even do it with lemon.
Okay.
Like shout out to the people that can do the warm water with lemon. It actually makes me nauseous.
I'm doing room temperature, not warm. Is that as good as warm?
It's great. Okay. It's all great. Whatever works for you. It doesn't agree with me.
Okay.
So I just want to say, like, if the lemon thing doesn't happen, it's okay. If you can put a little Himalayan pink salt in there, a Celtic sea salt that also has a lot of minerals and is very hydrating, that's great to do as well. But I just do plain water. And the visual that I give, and you'll never forget it, is if your poop is the boat, how can it float without a river? So drinking that water really aids in taking out the trash and having a bowel movement first thing, which is one of the most important processes for your body. And yes, I love talking about poop because it's a big part of our lives.
I do too.
And there should be no shame about it.
Wants to talk about it with me.
I will talk to you all day long. So water first thing in the morning, absolutely. And then coming into meal times, I know we talk a lot about mindful eating, putting down the phone. That's not realistic for most people. We are so programmed away from that at this point. It's okay, right? You do the best you can. If you can have one mindful meal a day, great. If not, I just want you to focus on chewing.
Yeah.
And chewing your food until liquid as far as you can take it before you swallow it. This is going to activate the enzymes that break down your food in your mouth. We are swallowing food whole and we're expecting our bodies to do the work for us. Our stomachs don't have teeth. There's a reason our teeth are in our mouths. And so chewing, again, I know we hear it, but I want this to be everyone's primary practice. Yeah. And I also want you to know this might take a lot of work. You might be uncomfortable with this. You might be, coming from a family where you had to go really quickly. My husband was one of 3 kids and they shoveled their food and they still all eat really quickly because that was kind of the rhythm of their childhood. And I get it. But taking time where you can. And look, if you get 20 minutes for a lunch break, do the best you can. Spend the first 5 minutes being as mindful as possible, chewing as much as possible. You do the best you can as often as you can. Yeah. And so adding in that chewing, I've seen people have gone to the best specialists in the world and they're like, no one ever told me about chewing my food. And I never committed to it. Mm-hmm. So committing to that. And when you forget, put down the food, put down the fork and just begin again. So that's another favorite one. And then I am a huge fan of raw fermented foods like sauerkraut. 1 jar of sauerkraut's equal to like 9 bottles of probiotics.
Wow. To
give you a visual on that. Mm-hmm. I also say still take your probiotics. I'm a huge, New Chapter fan. I love them. You can take them at night, which is great because your stomach is more relaxed. So you'll get the benefits from them a little bit more easily. But adding in just a forkful or 2, it doesn't have to be a lot, right? We take things to extreme. It's just a forkful of raw fermented sauerkraut. You want to make sure that it's in the refrigerator section. Now there's all these different incredible varieties. Yes. Like there's vegetables, turmeric kraut. And really, aside from being a probiotic rich food, they're sour. They add a sour note to flavor. So when we want to talk about enjoying our food more and stimulating your body's digestive response, we want to have all different kinds of flavors. And we're over salted and we're over sweet. And so adding in bitter and sour foods like those bitter leafy greens, dandelion, things like that, so good for your body. And adding those sour foods like raw fermented sauerkraut, it really goes through all the taste flavors and helps you feel more balance in your body, which is going to mirror itself, as you know, with everything in your life.
Yeah, that's so true. I remember in training, they said, eat your smoothies and drink your food or something of that variation. And it was like, oh, yeah. Like,
you want to chew
even
your
our
smoothies. Yep. Because we have saliva in our mouth, and those digestive enzymes are a big part of the digestive process. It doesn't happen just when you swallow. And I know everybody's heard this a lot, but you're hearing it again for a reason.
Yeah, totally. So you also have other rituals like the cacao. I remember seeing you drink like ceremonial cacao since I don't even know how long. Can you share some of the benefits and like why you recommend doing that or why you do that in your personal life?
Yeah, so I was introduced to cacao from my friend Jess, and she's connected to a shaman in Ecuador, and they use cacao in traditional ceremonial practices. And so it's really, at its core, it's a beautiful way to connect you to Mother Earth.
Yeah.
So I live in an apartment. I see a skyline, luckily, but I'm not in nature. I'm not able to earth most days. So having cacao that comes from the cacao pod is a way for me to connect myself to an organic and natural element. And I feel like the more we can do that, the more plants we have in our home, the more that we can feel the breeze on our face, again, the more balance we're going to feel in our bodies and in our lives. I'm a double Libra, so balance comes up a lot
Libra
for me.
sun.
Yeah, Libra. I'm extra Libra, so it's a lot.
Sun, and what else?
Moon.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's your rising?
I always forget. I think it's Cancer.
Okay.
I think it's Cancer. I have to
Do you
check.
know your human design too?
I do. I'm a generator.
Okay.
I'm like classic generator.
Okay.
Nothing
Nice.
interesting here. I'm like a workhorse.
No, I love generators because I'm a projector. I need to be around generators. That's when I feel my best. So I get it.
I always get little like
Yeah.
human design envy. I'm like, it'd be so cool to be a reflector. And it's like, I'm just not. I'm not even a manifesting generator.
I love generator
just a
energy.
generator.
I love it.
But it's how I get, people look at me like, how do you get so much done? I'm like, I was built this way. I really was.
Yep.
So coming back to the cacao, so really the way that it connects me to nature supports me in my life. And then I say a little intention with it. So whatever my intention is for the day, I hold it up to my heart. And additionally, it has tons of antioxidants. It releases bliss chemicals in your brain, and you feel really good. It's like an uplifting energy when you drink it. So it's in my rotation. I have it most days in some capacity. I really love my matcha. Sometimes I have coffee. But the biggest thing is I ask my intuition before.
Me too.
I don't do
Every
anything
day.
on autopilot. It's always like, what would feel most supportive for me? Most days it's cacao. And also my husband is totally into it now. And a great way to make it is we have one of those milk frothers. We have the Breville.
I was just going to ask you how
Yeah,
to
we
make
have
it.
the Breville hot chocolate fountain or something.
Oh,
So he
yum.
can make a large amount, and I'll just do an unsweetened nut milk and some water, and I'll put the cacao in. Sometimes we get fancy. He makes it just like that. Cacao Hunapu, I'll give you a link. It's a woman, Gigi, in Guatemala. It's all hand sourced. She harvests it with the moon cycles. It's a really beautiful.
Wow,
There's some other wonderful companies as well, Cacao Laboratory, that do it, with a lot of integrity and create a beautiful product where you're supporting people, native people. So I can give some resources for that.
Amazing. That would be wonderful.
Yeah. So he makes it without anything. I love to add collagen. I love to add colostrum, which is really an amazing product for gut health, healing the gut lining. I add maca because mama needs her energy. It's also really great for libido, wink, wink. So I add some of my maca in. So I like to play around. Sometimes I'll add rose powder because from Anima Mundi Herbals, they have a beautiful rose powder because it really connects you to your heart. And I found the more that in my life and in my work, especially, that I can connect deep into my belly, into my own intuitive voice, and then bring that up into my heart and feel that heart resonance. When you have one of those blissful meditations and you get there, you can feel your vibration, that frequency of your heart. And so I feel like all these things that we're talking about, all these practices, all these rituals, my cacao, even my matcha, adding in superfoods that support my system are all the little ways that I connect to those spaces within myself, and that I hope that I'm living my life from those places and that it's connecting to others and their hearts.
Yeah, that's beautiful. What other practices do you have right now? Whether it be meditation or I know that you did a lot of rebounding at one point. I'm not sure if you still are. What other practices are you doing right now?
So I do teach meditation, and I try for a daily meditation practice. I am a very lenient meditator. So truly, because I know my mamas, I know the morning gets off to a crazy start. I want to empower everyone to just at some point take 3 intentional breaths, and that's your meditation, right? Like
I just hear breath and I want a breath.
Same.
Had to take it.
It's so good. And it does so much.
Yep, it really does.
And I really like if you've got a peaceful song that makes you feel good. I'm a big Ram Dass fan, so I'll listen to Ram Dass on my walk to work, even if my seated meditation didn't happen at home. So I feel like that's my walking meditation moment. So I do guided grounding sessions where I like to really weave in EDM music and big ethereal sounds, and I guide people to places that I speak through intuitively. So I do a practice of that for myself every day. I love journaling. Doesn't happen a ton with both kids. It happened a ton before kids, then it happened a little less with the first kid, and then even less with the second one. I have a 7-year-old and an almost 2-year-old. But I make sure that it happens at least a couple times a week. Journaling is really important for me. I'm mostly just writing. I joke about my journals at retreats because I'll read some of it to people, my participants, and it's like the same things. It's just like reminder to self, like you're on the right path. See, it's connecting to your heart. Like, whatever comes out of you is great. So I journal, and then movement. Movement really, I did a Akashic record reading once, and she said in one of my, either just the one I just lived or the one before that, I was a Russian ballerina.
Ooh.
And I feel that. Like, I feel like I have a workhorse body in the sense of like, I need to be run out. Like, I have to be led into the field, run myself out physically, and then I actually feel energized and good by that.
I'm with you on that. I need intensity.
Yeah. And so what I used to do that much more in my 20s. And then thankfully, my 30s and now early 40s, I learned much more about hormonal balance and period cycle. So I honor my cycle as well. I don't do any, I just do gentle walks when I'm menstruating, and then I follow the flow with that for the month. So I found that that's helped me even more. So honoring my menstrual cycle, but when I need those big intensity workouts, honoring that too. And so I love rebounding. I do LEK Fit. I love my walks. It's when I get my ideas. It's when I feel like myself. And for me, it's especially important to not just do the 20-minute workouts. I need a couple days in the week where I'm doing a full hour.
Yeah.
And I'm really in the room, and I'm in a room where I can't have my phone. I can't pick anything up. I love SoulCycle. So movement's really big for me. One thing I will share, everyone's probably thinking like, this girl's got her stuff together. Sleep hygiene and bedtime routines and rituals, a constant work in progress. I will TikTok myself into a hole until 1 a.m. I am a night owl, and I just love it. I'm like, everybody leave me alone. And I have my phone and my not supportive, healthy rabbit holes I will fall into, and it feels so good. And I definitely, that is a work in progress. Having the phone away from the bed, or wind down routines, or nightly meditations, breathing, things like that, definite work in progress. But I attain and aspire to have that be something that I could share with you a year or two from now and be like, and my nighttime rituals. But that's not really in play just yet.
I love that.
I will say, when I have the yoga mat down by my bed and I just keep it there.
That's what I do.
I have done that a little bit more, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. I'm not going to be like, I laid on my mat twice this week and now I do yoga before bed every time. Absolutely not. And then of course, like I said, the joy that we started with so much is we have a full calendar. And I push my husband in that department too. Like, he is a homebody, but he loves that I get these things on the calendar because we know we get so much from it, but we are constantly traveling. Yeah. We go to a ton of fish shows. We're a big fish fan, jam band music fans.
So fun.
So we do that a lot. We go to a lot of DJ and EDM sets, not typical things that you would expect 43-year-old mom of 2. And I'm tired the next day, but I learn how to balance it. And, the next day I don't put anything on my calendar. I lay horizontally. Yeah. There's other ways you can play with your kids other than running around all over town with them. I watch a movie. We chill. Because I know when my cup is filled up in that way and I am a joy-filled, joyful parent, they get the best of me.
I love that.
Even when I'm tired.
Music is just so healing and elevating. And my journey, if I was really to rewind it back before I ever found meditation, SoulCycle was the first taste I got of that space that you can go to. And music just brings me to that very connected space as well. So I hear it so much out of all your routines and the things you do that bring you joy. And I understand and I feel it so deeply. And it is so underrated. We have access to music all the time, and just pressing play and putting on a good feel good song that just speaks to our soul, instant energy shift.
It does
really,
much.
It really does.
And I want everybody really turn to that as a tool.
Yeah.
And star those songs, heart those songs, download those songs, know what your lists are, know what your pump up song is, know what your calm down song is, I have a reset song. So let's say I had a morning like today, my daughter was a beast today. She was very, very upset about something. I did my best to breathe through it, didn't raise my voice. I was proud of how I handled it. But then I had to go into something else and I was in this funky headspace and I was like, oh yeah, that song, right? I put that on and I can feel it recalibrating my system. And music has always been a thing. Even, when I was in my 20s, chasing the boys in the bands in the tight jeans on Sunset Strip, living in LA. I used to joke that their jeans were smaller than my jeans.
So
the guys in the bands that I used to go after.
That's hysterical.
So I was the girl at the bat mitzvah. I was like, yes, I will be at that bat mitzvah raging. We had a bat mitzvah on a boat a couple weeks ago. And my husband's like, you're dancing really hard. I'm like, why do you think I'm here?
Why do you think I'm here?
And I was the only one who brought sneakers. I brought my platform Converses, and all the women were like, oh my God, you're so smart. I'm like, come on, guys. Like, this is what we need. And I was bopping around like a bunny and like having the best time. It's just, that's medicine, right? You look for all these really cool, I have a PEMF mat. I have a sweat blanket. I have all these cool wellness tools, hacks, all the things, sunbathing, getting fresh air and sunshine in my eyes in the morning. But at the end of the day, music, music, dancing, releasing, movement, breathing. Think about what dancing's doing for your diaphragm, for your cells. It's literally waking up. It's bouncing your intuition.
Literally. I'm the person at the wedding, and I feel like you might be her too, where I'm literally by the end, like drenched in sweat. Oh, yeah. My curls are disgusting. And like, I give zero shits. I'm like, I came here to do one thing and it was to have fun and to dance.
The lip sweat, the mustache, the whole situation. The lip sweat.
And I'm like, this is really embarrassing. I probably smell too, but honestly.
Well, I always travel with a little mini Dove deodorant, that little mini one they make. It's always in my purse because that's when the natural one is like,
it's like emergency only for the Dove. Emergency only. Yeah, but I feel you. And it's so true. Joy brings so much and it's so good for us. I was just at the Joe Dispenza retreat and we spent one of the meditations literally just hysterically laughing. And actually for me, it turned into hysterically crying, which was very interesting. But it was a very joyful experience. And you just feel like he's smart for orchestrating that. He knows what he's doing. And it's to activate that healing in you and the intuition within you and that alignment. Oh, it's so powerful. So you're doing amazing things right now, just sharing your gifts with people that are in the world as soul entrepreneurs and teaching other people their gifts and what they do. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah. So I was very resistant to doing business coaching because I love the wellness part of what I do too. And I never want to stop talking about sauerkraut and breathing and all these little practices. But I realized, at 14 years of business, I'm still here and I'm still doing it my way and I'm successful and financially abundant. And I've always done it my way. And I've never put out a course or a program or created a funnel or anything like that wasn't from my heart and what I really wanted to be doing in that moment. So on one hand, I'm not systematizing as much, right? And I'm not creating as much passive income as I possibly could be, but I am lit up by what I get to talk about and do every single day. So there's a sacrifice there, right? Yeah. Like you can't have it all the ways. And I just wanted to help people, support people, and guide people to other ways to do business as an entrepreneur, as a coach, bringing your work online. And so after the pandemic, I was very clear. It started to get louder and louder for me to create a mastermind, to create a mentorship, and teach the way that I show up on social media, the way that I get clients, the way that I create my programs. And yes, there's a ton of business nuts and bolts in there, all the left brain stuff, what works, email sequences, opt-ins, naming things, all of that good stuff. That is the practical of having your own business. But really where I drop in the most, I feel, is that mindset work and honoring and recognizing that being an entrepreneur is such like a mind, can I curse? Like, a mind fuck, Yeah. Like it truly is. And I remember for my business, even still sometimes, not as much sometimes, but like nowadays, but like 10 to 12 years of my business, any day I could completely talk myself into it or completely talk myself out of it. And I think when we start something, we think that when it gets hard, or we have hard days or hard moments or weak signups, it means we're doing something wrong. And I want people to know, and I want my, my clients and my mastermind and my mentorship and my programs to know that that doesn't mean they're doing it wrong. It's just a part of it.
Yeah.
And so if I could almost like pull the curtain back a little bit, and Wizard of Oz, and show them like, I have those days too. It's very up and down. That's why your mental game has to be so strong. That's why taking care of yourself has to come first. That's why you need to find community. I would be nowhere without my colleagues, my peers, my cheerleaders.
Yeah.
The people I say, well, I want to burn it all down today. And they just laugh and they hear me and help guide me to the next right step and whatever it is that I need that day. And so I love doing that for my clients. I'm always hesitant to call myself a business coach because I don't think of myself that way, but I don't know.
I think there needs to be like a rebrand of the word business, because now that we're creating businesses that are aligned to our souls, we like need a new word for that that will feel more aligned for us. Because I have resistance with the word business too, because it does not at all feel like a business. It feels like my soul's work, and that's sometimes
it's my creation.
Yes,
this is my creation, and I just feel like, like I said, 14 years, like I have a lot to say about this.
Yes.
And so I've been able to channel that into some really aligned programs in the last year or two. And it feels really good. And I'm excited for where it goes. I'm excited for where that part goes.
Just you sharing what you do, like I immediately felt like held and safe next to you. And I can imagine how your clients feel and the people you work with, because I've seen firsthand you work with someone really close to me, and I saw such a transformation. And from the outside looking in, like I saw the work that you share and how it ripples out. And that's kind of what like brought us into each other's lives again, in a way, just feeling that connection. So I just wanted to share that with you. Like as soon as you started talking about that, I felt like, like you're holding me, you make me feel safe. And I'm sure that's how each of them feel as well.
That means a lot. I truly believe that my primary job in that type of work that I do is keeping my clients in their yes, like in their, I can do this, I've got this. And pumping them up and cheering them on and showing them that when it's hard, it doesn't mean, like I said, that they're not doing it. It means it's part of it. And that's just what today is. And you get to wake up tomorrow and have a brand new, fresh day. Let's keep going. And entrepreneurship is really challenging. And I think we have, rose-colored glasses on it. And I want to take those off and celebrate the wins and also recognize the harder, more challenging days, and that it's all okay and that you're still doing a great job. And keep going. You're hearing this for a reason. You're meant to be doing this. It's just probably going to look and be and feel a lot messier than you had planned. And like, such is life. Here we are.
So true. And I think there's also this aspect with the business where sometimes we feel like we need to look at the data or the numbers or the trends.
Oh my God.
And like how it's going. It's just like, if you want to go on an ego rabbit hole, maybe, but like aligning to that and how every day is truly a new start. And just like you got the opportunity at the beginning of your career that came from almost nowhere, just your aligned experiences and events that were taking place, I feel that's the same with our everyday businesses. Like today could be one thing, tomorrow could be something completely different that we never anticipated. And that is the joy of living in the unknown and just that open and receptive space.
Totally. And I think when you're living the unknown, that's why you have to ground yourself so much every day, because no one's going to do that for you. And you have to make that your primary purpose for self first. Yeah. Even with everything on your plate.
What are some tips you would give for grounding to any entrepreneurs or really just anyone who's listening?
I do like to, first thing, like I like to back up from the day ahead, and truly the night before I do make priority lists. Like, okay, what are the first few things that I must tackle tomorrow? And sometimes it's even just one. Yeah. Like what's one big rock that I need to move that will make me feel better? What's something that I've been putting off? I will definitely dance around the bigger projects. Full transparency. I will busy myself with the day-to-day and the running and the tasks and the DMs all day long. So the night before, I will get really honest with myself and say, okay, what's something that's really going to move my business forward tomorrow? What's something I've been pushing aside or saying I don't have enough time for? So putting that first, that really grounds me, because when I have done the meditation, I've done the movement, and I sit down, I know that that's what I go to first. So I find that really grounding. Also, I work on the floor a lot.
I love
like
that.
I work on a cushion.
I noticed that actually in your videos. I see that a lot.
I do. So I have my desk, but I primarily work on the ground on a meditation cushion with a low coffee table. And that's where I set up my laptop. And I find the physicality of being grounded
literally
keeps me really grounded. And then breaks in the day, like allowing yourself, you know, this is your life that you're creating, and your moment to make it look the way you want it to look is now. And there can be a wide range of resources, whether it's financial or time, but there's always little things, small luxuries you can give yourself right now that you don't have to earn. You don't need to put off till later. You can walk around the block and take a break. You can sit on a stoop and put your face in the sun. You can put on some music and take a moment for yourself. Heck, you can even like set a timer and watch TikTok for 20 minutes if you're like, I enjoy that, you know? Allowing those things to be a part of our life instead of pushing them away or saying for later, I haven't earned that. It's a mindset switch for sure.
Totally. One question I also have is how you show up on Instagram. I love how you do it. So it feels so authentic to me. Do you have any tips for other people who may be struggling in that area? I honestly know some days I'm like, oh my gosh, I fall into that verbiage of like, I have to post today. And I never feel that way on stories. Sometimes I just feel that way with like the reels. I think it's the reels that just
they
feel
haunt
like,
me. They haunt me. I literally posted today. I posted a really nice photo I took of myself in some nice lighting because I was like, I cannot edit reels right now, y'all.
Here's a beautiful selfie of me in some nice light.
Other shit to do. I am sorry. So maybe you need permission to hear that too. It's not gonna, you know, be the best business advice.
I love it.
But thank you. I think for me on social, what I really do focus on, yes, I have a large following. I'm grateful for every person there, but I don't necessarily, which again, this might not be the best advice. I'm not necessarily focusing on growth. I'm focusing on connecting with my community. And so that's why I believe my programs are full and there's wait lists, and brands want to work with me because I am in deep conversation with my community. And so if I only have time for editing and posting a reel that might have a bigger reach, or me having an honest moment that's not necessarily savable, shareable, but it makes you feel something as someone being a part of my world, I'm going to prioritize the latter. Totally. And so that doesn't necessarily lead to growth, right? I have a good following. I've been doing this 14 years. It could be 10 times that number. But the people that I have there, I'm in deep conversation with and in deep relationship with. And for me, it's always finding a balance between like, okay, you need to get some teachable content here. You know, people come to your platform to learn things too. And that to me is the content that is a harder reach because it takes a minute. I have to think about it. I have to really write the caption, and it's me doing it for the most part. So I would say, think about who you're talking to, make some real connections with some of your followers, chat with them in your DMs.
Yes.
And just share. I was with someone at an event this morning and she's like, I can't believe the way that you just talk to the camera and I do want to honor, this is in my wheelhouse. It does. I want to say like, this does come naturally for me. I am a performer. I was a showbiz kid, I love put up a camera and here 1, 2, 3 go.
I'm a Leo rising. I feel you.
Yeah, that's innate in me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to look like all of that for you. It can be really simple. Start talking camera, share one small thing about your day. We do overthink things. What's something that happened in your morning? What's something that happened last night? You don't have to qualify it, oh, nobody cares or this isn't helpful or supportive. It's just sharing. And in those sharing moments, that's when we connect to the human and that's when we feel held and seen and heard and when we want to connect back. And that's going to be a massive way you're going to grow your business and your heart. Maybe not your following, but certainly the way that you get to connect with people.
Yeah. And deeper connections with what's there. Like we can be so numbers based and it's so important. Like I'm all about going deep. And that's like why I started this podcast, just to have another place to like really talk it out and like all the things.
No, this is awesome.
Like,
I definitely want to do a YouTube show or something. You're inspiring me.
Like
I love doing this.
It's just different. It's a different energy than I love Instagram, but it's a different energy than Instagram. But it's so true what you said of like really focusing in on what's already there and connecting with the people there. I literally live in my DMs. Like all I do is answer DMs because I love connecting. I love talking about all that I share. And seeing it that way gives just a great perspective shift. I really like that.
Totally.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for our time together. I hope we have many more days together.
So nice.
It was so nice catching up.
I love supporting you and your work.
Thank you.
I think you're such a beautiful example of showing up every day wherever you're at and whatever's going on.
Thank you.
Your commitment to really helping people feel better in all the ways that you can support them it's so visceral, it's so potent. And I think that's why I like being around you. And I think that's why your audience is here and they enjoy it too.
Thank you.
Thank you for beautiful questions and just getting to spend time with you.
That means so much. And I see obviously the same from you. And that's why I wanted to have you on here. And I want you to share where people can find you if they want to learn more, if they want your support in their business and in their lives.
Yeah, so definitely Instagram. I have got my link tree there. So you've got all my links if you want to be on one of my business program wait lists or just connect with me. My website is yourhealthiestyou.com. So that's my coaching practice. And then for all things speaking and meditation, my books is on my website, which is robynyoukilis.com.
Your website was like goals. Like I looked at it. I think I messaged you about it because I was obsessed. It's so beautiful. So you have to check it out. It's just like stunning. Beautifully done.
The double Libra in me, all the visuals.
Done.
That is my art. My fashion is my art. My virtual home's my art. So yeah,
it's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
I hope you enjoyed. As you can see, Robyn's just a love. And I think the greatest message I got from her was just joy, music, love, excitement, dance, and just taking life as it is and enjoying every moment that we can in between the busyness of work and everything else that goes on. Thank you for being here, and may the longtime sun shine upon you. Sat Nam.